Hi, my name is Shekinah Lewis. I am a training specialist for Access Early Learning Communities. Access is a nonprofit organization located in Dearborn, Michigan. I am here today on behalf of United Way for Southeastern Michigan's early learning communities, also known as ELCs. There are three ELCs across Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Access serves all of Wayne County. Leaps and Bounds Family Services serves all of Macomb County and some of Wayne County. And Oakland Family Services serves all of Oakland County. So if you ever have any questions, you can contact either ELC and we will be glad to help you. Before we get into today's training, I want to talk to you about Ready for K. It is a family engagement curriculum that you receive via text message once a week. It is a great resource to use with children that are 8 and under, and it is free. Yes, it's free. You can use this with children who may be lacking in certain areas or who need if you need some new ideas for activities to do with them. It has been research proven that families who complete the activities have seen improvements in their child within 2 to 3 months. So if you are interested, you can text United, UNITED, to 70138. I have some reminders for you as well before we start this training. So please make sure you are taking notes throughout the training. It will help you with answering your homework questions, and you'll be able to refer back to the strategies in the future if you need them. The PDF for this PowerPoint is also available, and you can take notes on that as well. It's important to pay close attention to the slides with green stars on them because they are the answers to your homework questions. I hope to see you soon once we resume in-person training. But in the meantime, today we are going to talk about conflict resolution and some strategies to help you problem solve and to teach children how to problem solve on their own. So we have 3 objectives, and they are to recognize techniques of the conflict resolution process, identify children's feelings in conflict situations, and to help them label their feelings as well. And lastly, we are going to discuss a 6-step process to help children resolve conflicts on their own. So I want you to think about what you do when you become angry. So how do you feel when you become angry, or what do you do? And I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think about that. You may cry, roll your eyes, whine. Yes, adults can whine just like children. You may fight. You may curse as well, or you may walk away. I know I like to walk away. So we may do some of these things or all these things. So others, such as cursing, you may want to do, but you have learned new strategies and new ways to communicate. And that's what we want to teach the children as well. So now I want you to think about what children do when they are angry. And you may have dealt with some angry children today. So what did they do? Yes, so they may cry as well, roll their eyes, whine, become physical, or walk away. So you may notice that children and adults, they do some of the same things when they are angry, but we punish or become upset with children when they express how they feel. But developmentally, they are not able to manage their emotions, so it's important for us to be mindful of that. So now let's think about what children say when they become angry. Yes, good point. So they may curse as well. They may be speechless. They may not say anything. They may just look at you like this. Or they may ask for you or for their parent. So in order for us to help preschoolers problem solve, we have to learn some of their characteristics. And one of the first characteristics that we are going to talk about today is egocentrism. Yes, it is a big word, egocentrism, but it is when children are only able to feel and think about things from their point of view. So these behaviors are typical, but you can work with students to change their behavior. They may be thinking, who is she talking to? What is she talking about? I wanted that toy, so I took it. So it's important that we ask questions and do activities with them to teach them empathy in a developmentally appropriate way. One of the second characteristics of preschoolers are concrete thinking. And children base their understanding of the world on obvious physical characteristics. So if you want a child to learn how to share, it is not useful to say to them, you must share, because this is too abstract and they are unable to understand exactly what it is that you want them to do. So it's important that you use terms such as let's take a turn, and then you model it. And also you can use timers for sharing as well. So you can bring in that timer and you can allow the children to set the timer. And then that way they know when to go ding, it's time for them to switch and give it to the next child. It's also important for us to remember that preschoolers have limited verbal skills. So when we are trying to help them problem solve, the adults in the early stages, they may be doing a lot of the talking that is needed to help them solve the problem. So when we talk it through with them, it's important that we're asking questions and they're repeating what they say so that they can take the lead and that they'll also understand what it is that you're trying to do. So now let's see what talking through a conflict with children may look like. So here we have a scenario. Jane and Sam were fighting over a truck. From what you can see, both look upset because they both want to play with the truck. So some things that you can do to help them talk through, this is an example of how you can do it. I can see both of you are upset. Are you angry because you both want to use the truck? So you can look at Jane and look at Sam, making sure that you're giving them eye contact and also that you're allowing them a chance to say their piece. And then after they do that, you can say, I think we can figure out a way for both of you to have a turn. Should we use a timer? And then you can bring the timer in, but first you can just wait for their response. They may say yes or no, and then you would bring that timer in. And you can let the children get the timer as well. Instead of you walking and get it, you can say, Jane, can you please go and get the timer for us? And then we're going to set the timer. And once you're done, we're going to let Sam get it. So as we continue to talk through, you can say, Sam, would you like to hold the timer first? And look for their response. And then Sam will hold the timer. When all the thought is gone through, it will be his turn to use the truck. And you say, okay. So that way they can acknowledge that they understand what it is that you are saying. And then you'll look for a response. So we shouldn't assume that they understand exactly what it is that you're trying to do or what you're saying. But modeling what you expect is important because just like adults, children are visual learners as well. So one of the third characteristics of preschoolers we're going to look at is their physical expressiveness. And children at this age express most of their feelings physically, showing excitement by yelling and moving their bodies, or sadness by crying. So when they are doing things physically and it may hurt someone else, we shouldn't assume that they are doing it with negative intent. It just may be that that's how they feel comfortable expressing themselves. So one of the fourth characteristics we're going to look at is children at this age, they are starting to explore. They want to become independent. They will want to separate. They realize that they're separate from their parents, so they want to learn different things and explore. So an example of this may be during dramatic play, providing them with materials to explore, letting them pretend that blocks or Legos are food, just letting them explore and come up with their own conclusion, letting them practice active learning. Also doing arts and crafts, if you're doing an activity, not just if you're painting a ladybug, okay, I'm not just going to give you red and black paint to paint the ladybug, but letting them choose which colors they want to paint, not letting them think that it's right or wrong because it may be the way that they see it. The fifth characteristic we're going to look at is preschoolers are not able to hold just one or two things in their mind at a time. So it's important that you as the caregiver is supporting them with this problem solving and that you're helping them communicate the details of what's going on. And you can do this by restating the information children have shared. using clear and simple language, helping children explore solutions, and keeping the problem-solving process on track when they become distracted. So let's look at the fifth characteristic more closely. So this is Ben and Amy, and they want a truck as well. So we don't want this truck anyway. Let's do the puzzle. So they decided that they're not going to fight over the truck anymore. They're just going to go to the puzzle. So forget the truck. As an adult, you can come in and say, so you don't want to figure out how to use this truck now. So let's put it away so you can do the puzzles. So you restated what they were saying and verifying that they were done with the truck, and it helps them to realize that they are done with it, so let's put it up. So the teacher, she used language that they were familiar with, and it helped them understand that, okay, we're done. She just said we're done. So now let's go and put it up so that we can move to the next activity, which is puzzles. So next, let's look at some slides about behavior. So we all run into situations of conflict or disagreement. We adults have learned skills, so we've learned how to resolve conflicts in appropriate ways. And we want the children that we care for to have these skills that we've learned to help them solve conflicts. So if we let children work to resolve their conflict, they will eventually be able to resolve conflicts on their own in a healthy way. And they will also become responsible decision makers. It's important that we teach skills that help them work through their problems and not solve them, but we also have to be realistic. Because we must remember, we all make mistakes. My grandfather used to say they put erasers on pencils because everyone makes mistakes. So knowing this, we must help them turn disputes and conflicts into positive experiences by understanding their developmental needs, and also by using problem prevention strategies and engaging the child in the conflict resolution progress. So a lot of the issues that children have, such as fighting over toys and sharing, there are some things that we can do to prevent those problems. We can have more than one truck. Maybe you need 3 or 4 if this is something that all of the children in your care that they gravitate towards. If everyone wants to play with magnet tiles or Legos, you need to have multiple sets of that because that will prevent them from arguing about sharing. So it's also important that we understand, again, each child's developmental needs, and remember that each child is different. They learn differently as well. So please be aware of how you respond when children mistakenly say things wrong or cuss. Because if a child says elephant, are you just correcting them? Or if they say elephant nut, they may say it that way. They may not be saying it in a way that we're hearing it away, but that's not their intent. And I also want you to think about social mistakes versus misbehaving. So social mistakes as a child, I look at it as a child being curious and asking questions. We may think it's inappropriate, but in their mind, they're just trying to learn because at this stage, they're trying to learn everything that they can. When we think about misbehaving, I think of it as when a child intentionally does something such as hitting, because they know if they hit Johnny, he's going to cry. Or they know if they take the toy out of Johnny's hand, he's going to cry as well. So it's important that we understand social mistakes and misbehaving. So also, I want you to think about, what do children learn when adults facilitate problem solving? So when we help them problem solve, what do they learn? But yes, they learn how to be problem solvers as well, right? So they also learn how to express strong emotions in a non-hurtful way, to appreciate one's own views, but also the views of others. And lastly, they learn to make decisions intelligently and ethically. And these bullet points on what children learn are from this book at the bottom, The Power of Guidance by D. Gartrell and M. King. So this may be a great book to read to help you with the benefits and how to problem solve with children. So when it comes to problem prevention strategies, you can make sure that you are keeping the expectations for behavior developmentally appropriate. So making sure that it is appropriate for the age group that you are working with. Have many choices for play available. Again, as I said earlier, if this is a hot toy in your care, making sure that you have a lot of different sets. Set clear limits for children's behaviors. Establish a consistent daily routine and communicate it clearly. So having that routine, that schedule, and going over it with the children every day so that they can learn it. Modeling respectful ways of interacting with others and using materials. So we know we don't throw the toys at each other. You're modeling, okay, this is how we sit and play. This is how we build a tower. This is how we paint with the paintbrush. This is how we color with the crayons. We don't color on the wall, but we color on the paper. And then also plan for transitions. I know transitions are a hard part of a lot of caregivers' day, but it's important that we plan for them and you come up with different activities for them to do to help it transition easily. So for instance, you can say, if we're going outside, we know could be a transition that could take a long time. So, you can have the children, let's hop to the table or let's hop to the door. Having them do things to take their mind off of getting into something else. It's not realistic for us to tell the children, okay, let's stand in a single file line. Preschoolers are not going to be able to stand in a single file line. Third graders probably aren't going to be able to stand in a single file line. So it's important that we do things to plan for these transitions and to make them fun because it'll be less stress on us. And also remember that this is a slide with a star on it, so this will be a part of some of your homework questions. So let's think about conflicts in the context of you. Yes, you, the caregiver, the teacher. So things can heat up when you use you statements like you hit him and you are bad. You can't do those types of things. That's not healthy. When you use intense body language, so if you have that negative aurora and you're running over there to stop something, that's a negative body language, or you're shaking your finger or grabbing the child to stop them. No, that's a no-no. Also, making accusations or blaming a child, like you have a child in your care who displays some behavior that you just aren't fond of. Not always taking their side, the other child's side, because you know that they're always doing things. So do not focus on the past, focus on the person rather than the problem. Also focus on your position. You are the teacher, you are the adult, you are the modeler. So if you are showing them how to problem solve in a healthy way and you're remaining calm, you're teaching them how to be responsible decision makers and how to interact, how to act when it comes to conflict, because they are watching you and they are going to do what you do, not as what you say, not what you say. And lastly, again, it's important that we don't make assumptions. So make sure you're going into each day with a positive intent and always remain in neutral. Do not take sides. So now let's talk about what happens when you cool down. Okay, so some things that you can do to cool down the situation. You can use I statements so that you can teach the children how to describe their feelings, how to state their feelings. So for instance, I feel sad because Johnny hit me in the head. And when he did that, it hurts. So what I need for him to do is to not hit me in the head anymore, to keep his hands to himself. So the children are able to understand, okay, what Johnny is able to understand that what I did, it hurt her. And this is what she wants me to do. She doesn't want me to hit her anymore because it made her sad. So those types of words children are able to understand, such as sad. It's important that you have that gentle body language, that you aren't storming over there, but you're cool with it. You're gentle. You're nurturing. Also, that you are specific. You focus on the present and the future, and not what happened yesterday, or not even what happened 5 minutes ago. You focus on how to solve the problem. So again, if they're fighting over these hot toys, go on Amazon, Lakeshore, order some more sets of whatever it is that everyone likes. Focus on the children's needs and their interests, and listen carefully to both sides of the issue. So now we are going to talk about the 6 steps of conflict resolution, and they are to approach calmly, stopping any hurtful actions. You want to go in and stop, the hitting or the fighting, but you don't want to run and, you don't want to have that negative aurora. You want to acknowledge their feelings, gather information, restate the problem, ask for ideas for solutions, and choose one together. So allowing the children to be a part of the resolution process, and then be prepared to follow up with support for them. And again, this is a slide with a star on it, so this will be a part of your homework question as well. So I encourage you all to try these. This can be very time consuming, and it can be difficult, remembering to do all of these steps, but it is worth it. So we will talk about each one more in depth. So step 1, approach calmly, stopping any hurtful actions, be positive, and breathe. Even if you have to practice mindfulness, and it's important too, it's a good idea to teach the children how to practice mindfulness when they feel frustrated or feel triggered. And go in with a positive and an optimistic attitude. So you see somebody over there fighting. So instead of you running over there like stop or yelling or doing anything, you walk positive, you walk over there in a calm way, and then you are positive, like, okay, let's not hit each other. You make sure you separate everyone and that you have a calm tone. Step 2, always acknowledge their feelings. Let them know you look upset. They may not know that they look upset, but by you telling them, they're able to realize, okay, the way I'm looking is giving the impression that I'm upset. So also you can hold the object that the children are disputing over. So for instance, when James and Sam were fighting over the truck, you can hold it in the between them. And then as each one of them say their piece, you're holding it and you're acknowledging each one of them. Because if one of the other children is holding it, then the problem is just going to keep going on because they're going to be so focused on the other child having it that they aren't going to be able to go through the 6-step process. And again, just always validate their feelings so that you can move on to the next step. So here we have a feelings chart. And when we are in conflict, we have strong feelings. And this is our conflict triangle. When we have strong feelings, our brain produces a chemical called cortisol. And that is this light purple circle right here. And your thoughts are small, but your feelings are large. Like you can't even think straight because I'm just so upset. Like I just want to knock everything over. So your thoughts, you can't really think straight because you're just going off of your feelings. So then we have the next triangle where the feelings are acknowledged. So it's important to be aware of what you're feeling. So then once you, to be aware of what you're feeling so that you can communicate it. And then once your feelings are acknowledged, okay, your thoughts and your feelings will start to go away. You feel that bailing of feelings. So then it becomes more even. So this will lead to the purple bluish circle where you see feelings and thoughts are equal and you are now able to think more clearly, because before you couldn't think straight at all. But this is our goal right here. Our goal is to have our thoughts and our feelings even. So I'm going to go over this again. So we start with our top purple circle, and remember our feelings, we can't think straight because we're too into our feelings. So then once our feelings are acknowledged, we come down here and then we start to feel that veil of feelings because we're being acknowledged and the feelings are our emotions are kind of calming down because, okay, you're thinking in your head, they hear me, they understand. So then you're able to think straight. So here we're going to look at an example of a teacher trying to stop a child's emotion. Let me take a sip. So I'm going to read it to you. That dog chewed up my bear. Now don't get upset. Oh, it's okay. It's only a stuffed bear. Stop that. I'll buy another bear. I don't want another bear, Miss Lewis. Now you're being a baby. So with this, the best with the best of intentions, we try to comfort a child by telling them it's okay. But in their head, it's not okay. I want my bear. It's not okay at all. So when we try to comfort in this way, the result is often the escalation of the feeling. So you're telling them, now don't get upset. So they're going to get upset even more because you just told me not to be upset. So think about when you are upset and someone tells you, don't get upset. It's not even that big of a deal. It's going to make you even madder. So it's the same thing with children. So with this example right here, her feelings were overlooked by the teacher. We don't want to overlook their feelings. So just think about things from a different perspective if this was you. So what we want to do is we want to really listen and name the feeling clearly. And this is how we can do it. That dog chewed up my bear. Oh no, your favorite bear. Bear was my friend. You're feeling really sad. I made him a new bed. It looks very cozy. I hugged him every day. You really love that bear. So in this situation, adults, they may find it difficult to see children upset. They worry that listening to and naming strong feelings will escalate the problem. But when a child senses that the adult really understands what they're experiencing, the child is deeply reassured. They feel calm. And also that adult-child relationship is strengthened because they feel like, okay, Ms. Lewis understands me. You're nurturing them through this hard time. She gave her a hug at the end. And then they'll also learn that that feelings are a part of life, that we all have feelings. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So she felt acknowledged and heard. So here are some strategies to acknowledge feelings and state the feelings concretely so the adult can say, you're really mad. If necessary, state a limit as part of the acknowledgement. So, for example, I see you're frustrated, but toys stay in your hands. Let children know that you need to hold objects in dispute, so hold them in between the children. So you let them know, I will hold the train while we solve this problem. I'm not picking sides. I'm neutral, so I'm going to hold this. Reframe children's hurtful words as you acknowledge their feelings. So we'll talk about this in a few minutes. Watch for signs that children have fully expressed their feelings. If necessary, acknowledge feelings many times until the child begins to calm down. So you may have to keep saying, you're really mad. You're really upset. This is, you're feeling frustrated right now. So just keep acknowledging their feelings and labeling them, and you don't get upset. It's important that you remain calm the whole time. So also remember that acknowledging feelings isn't about fixing the problem. It's about getting the emotions out. Okay, so next up, we have acknowledging feelings strategies. We have some more strategies for you. So let's practice. Okay, I'm going to read you a scenario. Pete is crying. Karen took his book. Carolyn took Pete's book because he called her dummy head. How would you acknowledge each child's feelings in this scenario? Okay, that sounds pretty good. So you can also say, Pete, you seem really upset. And Carolyn looks angry. Or, Pete, you look upset. Carolyn, it looks like you're feeling mad. Are there any others that you could think of? So remember, we use each other's names in class. So Pete, you look really upset, and Carolyn, you're angry. Then the next step in conflict resolution will come up after the children acknowledge that it is how they are feeling. Or maybe it's not how they're feeling. They may tell you something else that they're not feeling angry. They may feel frustrated. So because sometimes we are wrong and we can get the feelings wrong, but sometimes we may be right. So just keep trying to acknowledge their feelings until they calm down. So here we have some words to teach the children so that they can practice, acknowledging their feelings and put a label on their feelings. So for example, we have uncomfortable, overwhelmed, ignored, embarrassed, happy, sad, frustrated, annoyed, playful, scared. They may feel scared, anxious. So it's important that we're teaching them these words. Or you can also create emotion rocks with them. So you can have all these different activities to help the children label their feelings as well. And then you can practice making these faces with them. They can be a small group activity or a large group activity. Or I love this one right here. You can make a book, and each child, you can take pictures, and each child can do their sad face. They can do their worried face, their happy, all of those different types of things. Or with older kids, you can have them make rocks, and then they can write how they're feeling on the rock. So this can be a good activity for school agers. And then we have books that you can read about their feelings as well and teach them new words. And then at the bottom, we have storyjumper.com and freekidsbooks.org that you can use as a resource to get some new books to read to the children about their feelings. So what happens when children learn to manage their emotions in childhood? It leads to positive attitudes and behaviors later in life. So then they are able to be empathetic and supportive of others. They perform better in school and their career. They have more positive and stable relationships. They have good mental health and well-being. They have a positive sense of self. They feel more competent, capable, and confident. They develop resilience and coping skills. And lastly, they display less behavioral problems. So if you are interested in learning more about some of these things that children that they learn, such as empathy and those types of things, I encourage you to take our social emotional learning classes. We have one that is for infants and toddlers, and then we have another one for school age children. And it is a great training. It's a live training. And it teaches the children about the 5 competencies of social emotional learning, which is responsible decision making, being self-aware, being socially aware, having those strong relationship skills as well. So just if you want to learn some new techniques and learn more about teaching children these things, because it does set them up to be strong in their adulthood as well. So here we have step 3. And step 3 of the conflict resolution process is to gather information. Gather as much information as you can. Ask questions such as, what's the problem? Always asking those what questions instead of why. Like, why did you hit him? Because they don't know why. They're gonna do this. I don't know. Instead, ask them what. What made you hit Johnny? Or what's the problem? What did he have that you wanted? And then listen for the details of the problem. Here we have step 4, and that is to restate the problem. So the problem is Johnny had the red truck and you wanted the red truck. So you restate the details that you hear in the children's words, that way they can understand it. And also reframe any hurtful comments that they may be saying to each other, because we don't want to say bad things to each other. Set limits on hurtful actions if necessary. Name that emotion as well. So name calling needs to stop. I see you are feeling very angry, but his name is Johnny, and we're going to call him Johnny. Okay, his mom didn't name him, or his dad didn't name him something else. He didn't name him dummy or stupid. His name is Jonathan. That's what we're going to refer to him as. Setting those boundaries. So some more ideas that you can use to reframe is you can say to the student, you feel, and you allow them to input their emotion, and then you want or need. So letting them know what they want or need. So for example, you feel sad. You want your mommy. And then you can let them know mom's coming. As soon as she get off, she's here to you. So that's just another way for you to frame. Now let's look at some examples of angry words that children use with each other. So they may say, if you don't give me that car, you can't come to my birthday party. I want to feed the fish. I hate you, you stupid dummy. I want to play with Joey. He's my friend. He is not your friend. You always let him choose the book, Miss Lewis. I never get to. You don't like me as much as you like him. And they may say, kids say all types of things, but that's how they're feeling. So some ways that you can reframe it, for example, if they say, if you don't give me that car, you can't come to my birthday party. As an adult, you'll step in and say, it sounds like you feel angry and you really want that Matchbox car. Or if they say you always let him choose the book I never get to, the adult can say, oh, it sounds like you're sad because you wanted to choose the book today. And then also make a mental note tomorrow, let them choose it because children are paying attention. All right, so here we have a video. And this video is 2 minutes long. And I want you to pay attention to the caregiver, the child, and other students in this video. You may have seen this. It was circling around social media a couple years ago, but let's give it a look.
Come in here. Look. Now,
well, you in timeout.
Look. My bracelet came off.
I'll put it back on. You in timeout.
It's no excuses.
Don't say you supposed to be back in timeout. I didn't say get out. You and Jayla in timeout.
Well, let me tell you this, Linda.
My name ain't Linda. So you sit right there in timeout, little bad little girl.
No, let me tell you something.
No, don't tell me.
If I wasn't here, I would surely take a day off from you and then a day off from these kids. I'm around the classroom. I'm just done with you.
I'm done with you too, but you in timeout.
Oh, let me tell you something, honey. This is not gonna leave.
You're gonna be in timeout.
Oh.
That's why you in timeout right now.
I think so.
I think so.
Well, when I get up out of town and go to bed, I will be glad to go home and enjoy the rest of my life. And I completely quit school because all of you.
All right. So what did you notice in this video? Okay. So yeah, this was a lot. So how do you think the little girl feels? Yep, she may be upset. She may be a little feisty, opinionated, mad, or annoyed. So what did you notice? I noticed that she had strong feelings. The caregiver was very hostile. She was not patient, nurturing at all. She wasn't very interested in the other classmates, and nothing was accomplished with this conflict. We're not sure what led to her being in timeout, but this right here was nothing, none of the steps were followed. And this situation was not ideal, but let's face it, it happened. The little girl and the caregiver both have very strong feelings, And we see this in the video, but the conflict is still there and relevant, and it needs to be solved. And again, we did not notice any of the 6 steps of conflict resolution. So here we are at step 5. And with step 5, you should ask for ideas for solutions and choose one together. So you can ask the children, what can we do to solve this problem? You wait for a response, you acknowledge each child, make sure you're giving them your undivided attention and making eye contact. Encourage children's ideas for solutions. Ask other children if necessary. And when ideas are vague, ask, what would that look like? Or what will you do? To make sure they understand it and you understand as well. Here we are at step 6. So be prepared to give follow-up support. Letting them know you solved their problem, Sam. You did such a good job. Also describe what children did that worked. So you did such a good job. You all followed the timer. When the timer went off, you let Jane have it, and then you all switched it again. Like, I'm so proud of you for solving that. And then check back on the solutions to make sure it's still working, that they're still following through with what they said would solve the problem. So making sure they're still using that timer and taking turns. So we went through the 6 steps, but here is a review. Remember, approach calmly, stopping any hurtful action, acknowledge feelings, gather information, restate the problem, ask for ideas for solutions and choose one together, and then be prepared to give them that follow-up support. So here we have a video of the 6-step process, and we're going to give this a watch as well.
The following video program shows teachers assisting preschool children in resolving classroom conflicts and disputes. All of the teachers shown have received training in a conflict resolution process that is an important element of the high-scope approach to preschool education. Video footage for this program was recorded at Bloomingdale Family Program Incorporated, a Head Start program in New York City, and at the High-Scope Demonstration Preschool in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
And the ball leaves the field and the catcher's running for it and they can't find the ball. First base, second base, third base, and the crowd roars.
Adults in early childhood settings work hard to provide warm and stimulating environments for children.
7.
With many types of learning opportunities.
8. Is it 4?
No, not yet.
9.
These adults hope that children's days will be filled with happy, cooperative play and work. Yet in all settings, even those with ample materials and a well-trained staff, many conflicts occur. Children's conflicts often involve disputes over materials or the use of space.
I don't want to get a space.
You don't want to get a space?
Or social disagreements about what to play, how to play, or the playmates to be included.
So you're still saying you don't want Jacob to come in, and he's still saying he wants to come in.
Many times it isn't clear what has happened, who is responsible, or how the problem can be resolved.
I'm going to hold on to this. You look upset. Joel, you look upset. And David, you look upset. What happened? I said,
These situations can be challenging, but they also have a positive side. With adult help, children can often resolve conflicts successfully.
If she's mad and I'm not mad, that means she could solve the problem with herself.
More important, this problem-solving process can result in new learning.
Don't fight again.
don't fight again. Joel's idea, David, and I said too, is that we don't fight again. What do you think about that?
As children find solutions for their everyday disputes, they are developing social, language, and cognitive abilities that they will use throughout their lives.
Over here.
He can play with you over there. Jarrell.
They are learning to respect differences, to express feelings, and understand the feelings of others.
You don't like that idea? You don't want
That's a
him
good idea.
to? Okay, then do you have any other ideas? He doesn't like your idea.
Conflicts, then, are a natural part of healthy, vibrant classrooms.
We solved it already.
What did you
For
decide?
children to learn to be cooperative, they need experiences in resolving conflicts successfully.
That's it? You don't need my help?
This video program describes 6 problem-solving steps that adults can use to work effectively with children involved in conflicts. Conflict resolution with young children involves both feelings and ideas. The first part of the process focuses on children's emotions. As the process unfolds, it engages children in thinking and making decisions. Here's how an adult uses the steps in problem-solving to help young children resolve a typical dispute.
Hold on a minute. What's going on? Oh, suéltala un momento. Hold on, let go. Suéltala. Okay. No. Un momento. Cálmate un poquito, okay, ya. Hold on, sweetie. Let's see what's going on. You're both very upset. Están bien enojados ustedes.
I want the keys from her hand.
You want the keys from her hand?
Yeah, that was Tommy.
Oh, that was Tommy's. Let's see, Tommy. ¿Tú querías la llave de la mano de ella? You wanted the keys? ¿Tú lo estabas usando? ¿Sí?
He was using it.
He was using it?
Yeah.
Él te estaba haciendo así. Tú le estabas haciendo así. You were going like that to her? Natalie said que no le gusta que tú le hagas así. She doesn't like it that you do that. Tommy said que no le des, not to hit him.
I'm not like that.
He said he doesn't like
I
that.
want that
Okay,
keys
can I have the
first.
keys for a minute, please? Dame la llave. Tú quieres la llave y ella quiere la llave. So, ¿qué vamos a hacer? You both want the keys, so what are we going to do?
Pero yo no quiero ese.
Tú quieres este. You really want these. Yeah. Tommy dice que él yo lo voy a aguantar. Tommy dice que él lo quiere. He really wants these keys.
He could use mine.
He can use yours. Tommy can use your keys.
Sí, pero
Ella-
pues se acabó la de ella, pues se acabó.
¿Qué se acabó? What finished?
La llave de ella se acabó ya.
Her keys finished?
Ajá.
Oh.
He could use his.
He can use his?
Yeah.
But Natalie says, Natalie, tú todavía quieres esto, ¿verdad? Natalie says she wants these keys. Yo lo voy a aguantar. I'm going to hold on to them, okay? ¿Qué podemos hacer?
He could use mine, but he can't have it. He could use mine.
He could use yours, but he can't have it.
He could use mine.
Tommy, ella dice que tú puedes usar los de ella. You can use hers. Is that okay? ¿Podemos darle esto para atrás a Natalie? Can we give these back to Natalie? Yes? See? Okay. There you go. What's going on?
In the first step in problem solving, the adult quickly and calmly approaches the children having the problem.
Well, I think it's very important that you approach calmly because if you approach haphazardly or abruptly, children kind of get startled with that. Anyone would get startled with that. And it's very important that you maintain a certain level of calmness, if you will, and patience so that children can feel comfortable eventually when you begin your problem solving. So I try to kind of ease in nicely so it doesn't become too much of I'm not overburdening them, I'm not, above them, and I'm not threatening them, hopefully.
To begin the problem-solving discussion, the adult focuses right away on children's feelings, supporting them in fully expressing those feelings.
You're both very upset. Están bien enojados ustedes. It's so important that you acknowledge feelings, especially for 3- and 4-year-olds, because they really just, they're so egocentric, they think about themselves. And they really need to know that other people share the same feelings.
The adult listens very carefully to all sides in the dispute, both for his own information and so the children can learn what others feel they need.
Yeah, that was Tommy.
Oh, that was Tommy's. Let's see, Tommy. ¿Tú querías la llave de la mano de ella? You wanted the keys? ¿Tú lo estabas usando? ¿Sí?
He was using it.
He was using it?
Yeah.
Gathering information is so important because we really need to find out what actually happened. So often we think we know what happened, but we really need to find out from the children what happened. When I first started, there were so many times where I presumed to know what had happened. And the children would then say, no, that's not what happened. So it's very important that you gather the information so that you have a better understanding, and so do the children, of what happened and maybe why it happened. And that will make the next step easier, because then you'll have all the facts and you have all the data correct, and you can move on to the next step.
Next, the adult restates the problem, using as much of the children's language as possible and rephrasing any child language that may be hurtful.
Él te estaba haciendo así. Tú le estabas haciendo así. You were going like that to her? Natalie said que no le gusta que tú le hagas así. She doesn't like it that you do that. Right after hearing all the information, restating the problem is a very important step, because you want to make sure that they understand what the problem is. And when restating the problem, it's important that you do use children's language and say it in their words. Sometimes what I do is I might say, do you mean such and such and such, and kind of reframe what they're saying, instead of actually saying something negative. So that then if the child says, yes, that's what I mean, then it's, okay, this is what she's saying. So that you're restating what the problem is and you're restating what the child is saying, so that there's a respectful dialogue and it's not something that's going to hurt, they're not going to hurt each other.
In the next step, the adult asks for children's ideas for solutions. He patiently listens to all the children's suggestions, even if some are unrealistic.
Y ella quiere la llave. So ¿qué vamos a hacer? You both want the keys, so what are we going to do?
Pero yo no quiero ese.
Tú quieres este. You really want these. Yeah. The importance of asking for solutions from children is that we need to get their input. If we just go and solve the problem for them, they're never going to learn to figure out or come up with ideas on their own. So we basically need to allow them the opportunity to think about what a possible solution might be.
He could use mine.
He can use yours? Tommy can use your keys?
Sí,
Sometimes what happens also is that when a child gives a solution, another child may add on to that and bring a whole new level of play to that problem.
Once a conflict is resolved, the children may need follow-up support. It's a good idea to check back a while later to see if children need further help in clarifying the details of their solution.
Yes? See? Okay. There you go.
All the teachers in this video have received training in conflict resolution. In the next segment, one of the teachers speaks with a trainer as they view a conflict on videotape.
Joel and Mark Anthony were having a problem with a toy that both of them wanted to use.
All right, so we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I wanted you all to see conflict resolution in the process and how the teacher helped the children resolve the conflict. Also, remember that he was very patient and very attentive to the children and helping them acknowledge their feelings. And also, I like how he pointed out when he first started as a teacher with the children, he always assumed, he felt like he knew what had happened. Like he assumed he knew what the problem was. But it took him learning the different steps that he doesn't know everything. And it's important to gather as much information as you can. So I just stopped it right here, but this is also available to you and you can just let it play. So here we have another video, and this is conflict resolution in action as well. And in this video, they are following the 4 steps to conflict resolution.
Julie, can we grab the thing from our friend?
I got it first.
You got her first? But
I got Sarah.
You feel sad?
I'm mad for Julie.
You're mad about your friend Julie because she got your toy? What do you think, Julie? Did you grab the toy from your friend? No? What happened? Tell me what happened.
I feel sad because she didn't want to bring the toy. She didn't want to
Do you know who got this toy first?
Me!
Can you give me 1 minute? I want to know what your friend Julie said. We need to know what she thinks about it.
I feel angry.
You feel angry because you got the toy first. And she feels sad because she said that you don't want to share the toy. So that's what do you say?
Because I feel sad from her and she didn't want to get the toy.
You know, girls, what kind of solution we can look for?
I would play at the yard.
You want to what?
I would be happy.
You want to be happy with your toy.
And here we can find the solution box.
That's a good idea. Let's see. Let's look at it. So what we give in the solution box? What is this for? Candle. And you know what the candle for? You want to save it for your mommy? No, I can save it for you. You want to wear it? Okay. So you find this. You have books. What are the books for?
But really,
To read.
I want to be happy.
You're gonna be happy. How can you be happy?
I'm happy
You feel happy all the time?
because you're saving.
Oh, look. Can you explain me what is this card for? What this card means? Okay, this is the card that your friend Julie found. You know what this card means? You've seen this new stuff? Let me ask you, Julie, what she thinks is the solution about our problem. What do you suggest? So, what do you want to explain to Alex? So, your friend Julie said that if she can have the toy.
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna share with your friend. That's the solution that you find. Awesome! Wow, you are such a great, nice friend, and you found the solution. Let's put everything back there. You had the solution for your problem. You was easy because you found the solution back. Let's put everything back.
Potato and mommy.
And this card is gonna be helpful for another
Oh,
friend.
potato mommy.
Okay. Thank you, Yuli, for your help. We appreciate your help.
So I like this video as well. The children, they brought in some different props to help them communicate how it was that they were feeling. So even if the children are able to put words to how they're feeling, once you're trying to help them solve the problem and acknowledge your feelings, bring in those different props so that they can pick the right one and choose to name how they're feeling. Because by them naming how they feel, it's going to help the other student to realize, okay, they're feeling sad, they're upset, and it can help with moving the problem, the six steps to the resolution, the problem solving on once you acknowledge their feelings. So teaching with the brain in mind is important. And from this book, this is a quote that we had that we're going to leave you with. The single best way to grow a better brain is through challenging problem solving. Okay, so marinate and just think about that we help children grow by challenging them to problem solve. And then lastly, your learning commitment. So based on what you learned in this training, including the 6 steps to conflict resolution, what problem prevention strategy will you work on? All right, I want you to think about that. And thank you for attending this training today. Please be sure to submit your homework to the Google form, link found in your confirmation email. And once this is done, you will receive credit.